It's November 27th, 2023, and Indiana Homes and Lizzie are at the Beachcomber restaurant in Crystal Cove, Southern California, enjoying these drinks. I have a Beachcomber, and you have a coconut mojito. Let's see how they taste. Ah, that's the stuff right there. Okay, stick around. We're going to take you for a little walk around Crystal Cove. These are brisket sandwiches, and they look super yummy, complete with pickle. It's Indiana Homes and Lizzie at Crystal Cove State Park in Southern California in South Orange County, and behind us are some of the historic cabins, and then turning around over here is the historic Beachcomber restaurant that we just ate at. This is a spectacular place. Everybody should come. So Crystal Cove is made up of all these cabins that were built beginning in about 1921, where originally, when this area of the coast became accessible because of Pacific Coast Highway coming through, people started tent camping here at Crystal Cove, and the state started supporting the idea of tent camping. Later, a series of cabins were built on the cliffs and on the beach. Right here is the Beachcomber restaurant. Definitely stop here and get food. The Beachcomber restaurant food is amazing. Crystal Cove has a visitor center and a history center, and we are walking into the history center right now. You can see here are some of the farms. The Japanese farmers farmed this area of Southern California prior to World War II. Crystal Cove tropical stage set, 1944. Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall were here to film To Have or to Have Not. Sadie Thompson, Blair Swanson, and Lionel Barrymore were here in 1928. And in 1974, Stephanie Powers and Ken Berry were here for Herbie Rides Again. 1934, we had Wallace Beery and Jackie Cooper in Treasure Island. And then in 1920, Son of Tarzan, P. Dempsey and Carla Schramm. And in 1988, we had Barbara Hershey and Bette Midler in Beaches. So, it says Hollywood first discovered the isolated cove in 1917, focusing their cameras on the shallow lagoon of Los Troncos Creek. They turned it into a tropical film set. Crews built thatched roofed huts and planted palm trees, creating Polynesia on the Cove Beach. Despite the limitations of the dusty roads, rustic outhouses, and no electricity, silent film producers took advantage of the area's scenic potential. Throughout the decades, filmmakers continued to discover the cove's possibilities. Some used its distinctive architecture for sets, others featured its sand and water as California beach-style backdrop. Cottage 13, where Beaches was filmed, is a tangible reminder of one of the many successful roles the Cove has played on the silver screen. Let's take a look at this little beach cottage here. Very fun. So they don't rent this one out. This particular cottage is just kept as a historical point of reference. Very primitive beach cottage, the way things used to be a long time ago. You could see in there what those cottages were like. Not fancy, that's for sure. But, oh, look at the old cameras in there. That's pretty cool. Got a desk in there. An old 35mm projector. Pretty neat. And this is the view you would have from this cottage where the film Beaches was filmed. This is one of the bigger cottages. those plants, whatever those are. Those are some.
In the early 1920s, Hollywood discovered Crystal Cove, and it became a favorite of directors and movie studios for their productions. In fact, many of the cottages that were built there were built to house movie directors and actors and actresses during productions of their various films. A few of the films that have used Crystal Cove as a location include A Few Good Men from 1992, Beaches from 1988, Creator from 1985, Black Violet from 2017, Dark Horizon from 2009, Presence from 2008, One Candle, One Man, 2013, Break, Blow, Burn, 2016, Automotive Landscape, 2015, Send in the Sun, 2017, The Glory in the Shadows, 2016, and Bikini Destinations in 2003. One of the earliest films to have used Crystal Cove as a location was an early production of Treasure Island. And famously, Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall called Crystal Cove home during the filming of their movie To Have and Have Not.
So looking from the Beachcomber Cafe at Crystal Cove, we see the Pacific Ocean and Catalina across the way. And then down to the right, you'll see some of the cabins up on the hill. All of these can be rented. You can rent these cabins for a day or a week and enjoy Southern California beach life. All these cabins can be rented. Beautiful cliffs here, water here in this part of Southern California is just pristine, clear, beautiful, but cold water. And then looking back over to the right here, we see more of the cabins. And way up on the hill over there, up above Pacific Coast Highway, you see some actual private homes, these modern homes with the tile roofs. The signs up here, the signage is a combination of signs to different beaches, different towns, different areas. This is the sign I'm talking about. This sign here is quite quaint. You've got San Francisco, Daytona Beach, Cabo San Lucas, Refugio State Beach, San Diego, Carpinteria, LA, Dodgers, 41 miles. Salt Lake City, wow. Salt Lake City, there's the north and south at the very top. It shows you where north and south is. And then as you walk around the sign here, you see some other points of interest. Avalon Harbor on Catalina Island says it's 32 miles. Chicago is 1,741 miles from here. Mammoth Mountain is 288 miles. Boston is 2,585 miles. PDX, I'm not sure what that is, 864 miles. Anybody know what PDX is? What that stands for? Put that in the comments there. And then Melbourne, Australia, 7,932 miles. That is something else. That is pretty cool, I gotta say. It is late November, and the weather is still nice. It's about 70 degrees. But you can come here sometimes in January and it could be 80 degrees. You just never know in Southern California what the weather's going to be like. But it's never terribly, brutally cold, although it can rain when you get into January. But when you come, when it's warm, either in the spring or the summer, this beach has a lot more people on it than we have here today. This is the tail end of Thanksgiving weekend. It's actually Monday. And so a lot of people are still out of town, and a a lot of vacationers or tourists are in other parts of the state or other parts of the country. So it's relatively quiet here. But normally there's a lot more people here, walking the beach, laying on the sand, enjoying the sounds of the waves crashing on the beach and the tide pools over here by the rocks. This is our little date day here today. We're just enjoying the weather and enjoying Crystal Cove because you have to get out sometimes and you have to just enjoy where you live, enjoy nature, enjoy Southern California. And that's what we're trying to do here today. Right, Lizzie?
Yes, it's a nice escape for the day.
Standing here on these beautiful rocks here in Crystal Cove, where all these tide pools are, is just amazing. This is just such a beautiful area. Everything here is just gorgeous. And we're here at low tide, so you can see down into all these crevices, into all of these tide pools, and really get to see the sea life. It's really magical. If you want to have a really beautiful natural nature experience here in California, if you're visiting or if you live here like I do, this is the place to go. Well, it is kind of gorgeous out here, I tell you. Other parts of the country right now, it's cold, raining, and snowing. Not here in Southern California. Here we are enjoying the beauty, the natural beauty of the beaches, the Pacific Ocean. It doesn't get much better than this, folks. This is why we live in California. Sure, we pay more for gasoline and we pay higher taxes, but it's worth every penny. Worth every penny it costs to live here in California, because there are a few places in the world where you have this temperate climate. Here we are, 70 degrees, probably higher by now. It's probably like 72, 73 degrees in late November, walking along the beach, South Orange County, Pacific Ocean on my right. Not too many people out. This is the life, baby. All of these clams and all this sea life is protected here at Crystal Cove State Park. It's all protected under the Conservancy. So you can't pick any of this or take it home with you or eat it. But these California brown clams, I think is what they're called, they're everywhere. You can find them in California in all of the different harbors and all of the different docks where boats are docked. You find them all over in every coastal town. So if they're in an area where they're not protected, like a port or a harbor, you could go in there and harvest them and eat them. You would have all the food you would need eating these yummy clams. I've never had them, but I assume they're like any other clams. They could be yummy. I don't know for sure. Look at that green seaweed out there. That's fantastic. Here's a little bit of it over here. Seagrass. Look at that. Green seagrass. Beautiful kelp. California has coastal kelp forests that are quite big. They go down, 100, 200 feet or more, that are really beautiful. And when I was a bit younger, I used to go diving with Lizzie, and we would swim through the kelp forests underwater, 50, 60, 70 feet down. But even 20, 30 feet down, you're in the kelp forest. The kelp forest grows all the way to the surface. If you're off of Palos Verdes or San Pedro or, many different areas in Southern California, you'll see kelp on the surface of the ocean. That's just the top of the kelp forest. The kelp forest grows all the way down to the bottom where it's rooted, and it is just a haven for wildlife, for all types of fish and sea mammals. So the best way to see sea life in Southern California, or California in general, is to go diving, get certified, get a scuba license, and go diving, and you're going to see all of the wildlife that is hidden below the ocean surface. You could snorkel and you'll see a little bit of it, but most of it is below the surface. So scuba diving is the way to go. Just walking out here again. Here's another sea anemone habitat here. Lots of interesting critters, lots of interesting creatures here. Over on the left are some of the California cliffs, which are made of a lot of clay, and so they're constantly eroding. Thankfully, these grasses and bushes help keep them in place, but in other parts of California where we don't have so much vegetation, you'll see these cliffs constantly come down during big weather events, big storms, big rain events, and it can cause some serious problems. Big mudslides. There was a really terrible one up north of Ventura, I believe, north of Ventura City, where a giant mudslide came down from a cliff that was probably 2 or 3 times the height of this, but it was a sea cliff, and there was a town down below it, and the town was actually on the east side of Pacific Coast Highway, so not on the ocean side, but the mudslide came through and it just swept dozens of homes away, and the road and the train tracks along Pacific Coast Highway, everything. So that can be an issue. Let's go look at this green grass here. Beautiful green grass, some of this yellow-brown kelp in the foreground here. This is just gorgeous. This is what it's like living on the Southern California coast, West Coast life. For those of you, my friends, who live inland or you live in other states that are landlocked, this is the kind of life you can experience living in a coastal state like California. Yeah, exactly, right? Maybe every once in a while a big rogue wave crashes way up here, and I know it's interesting. It looks like we're going to get our feet wet, but if you're careful where you walk, the water stays below us. Yeah, I know. I'm sure that volunteer ranger guy could explain. Lizzie is mystified at the mystery river, or mystery rivers that seem to come out of the sand from nowhere and then head back to the sea through passages like this. It is very odd and beautiful at the same time. Shelby would love that. Oh, that's not a rock. I thought it was a rock. It's actually a piece of kelp. See, you get Shelby down here, and you can't get her away from here. She just wants to spend like all day until it gets dark collecting stuff, taking pictures.
Willow doesn't like it.
She likes it, but not as long as Shelby has infinite patience for it.
Take Willow to Abalone Cove, and
Yeah.
she said it would make her nauseous.
She would get bored after a while.
Like too much visual stimulation.
Somebody marked that one. These are marked in some way. They have numbers on them. Keep track of them, I guess, for erosion. They probably measure them and stuff every once in a while. Circumference and all. Ah, look how pretty that is. We need to get our paddle boards out. Being out here on the water's edge makes me want to be on a paddle board, paddling around our little area of the world. There's a one-legged seagull. Lost his leg somehow. Oh, there's the leg. He was just resting one leg. Okay.
Crystal Cove State Park is a state park of California. It encompasses 3.2 miles of the Pacific coastline, inland chaparral canyons, and the Crystal Cove Historic District of beach houses. The park is located partially in Newport Beach and partially in an unincorporated area of Orange County and is part of the larger South Coast Wilderness area. Crystal Cove is a stretch of coastal cliffs and beachfront cove situated between the Pacific Coast Highway and the Pacific Ocean, southeast of Newport Beach and northwest of Laguna Beach. The 3,936-acre park was established in 1979. The entire park hosts a total of 3 miles of beaches and tide pools, a 1,400-acre marine conservation area, as well as an underwater park, 400 acres of bluffs, and 2,400 acres of canyons. Up until the arrival of the Spanish missionaries, the region was a series of native villages built around 2 different natural springs. The natives were then drafted to Mission San Gabriel and Mission San Juan Capistrano, which was later known as Rancho San Joaquin, until it went into debt and was sold in 1864 to James Irvine, a financier from San Francisco, along with 3 other ranchers. However, in 1876, when their sheep stock began to fail from drought, poor wool, and increasing competition in the marketplace, James Irvine bought out his partners prior to his death. His son, James Irvine II, then inherited the ranch and began to expand the production of the land by leasing it to agriculturally diverse farmers, and formed the Irvine Company in 1895. Being a favorite spot to James Irvine II, he allowed his friends and family, as well as employees, to build cottages on the land in the area known as Crystal Cove. As cottages began to undergo renovations and become more permanent residences, the owners were offered a choice by the Irvine Company to either move the cottages elsewhere or to hand over ownership and allow them to be leased by the company. These cottages were developed by the Irvine Company, and the location was called Crystal Cove Community. In 1927, the Irvine Company leased a portion of the area to a businessman who sold propane to coastal farmers and became a camping site named Tyrone's Camp. Trailers replaced tent camping in the 1940s, and in 1954, it was renamed El Morro. About 290 mobile home trailers on the beachfront and inland were the primary homes for some families, up to 4 generations. In 2006, after 26 years of litigation, the California Coastal Commission, who purchased the property in 1979, evicted the tenants and demolished the El Morro Village Mobile Home Park, converting the private community into a day use and overnight campground. The area was renovated to also include a visitor center for tourist information, dining areas along the beachfront, cultural center, museums, and the Park and Marine Research Facility. The Crystal Cove Historic District, a National Register of Historic Places site inside the park, contains 46 beach cottages from the 1920s and 1930s, of which 29 have been restored. 21 of these cottages are available for rent. The house from the Bette Midler movie Beaches is located in Crystal Cove. Crystal Cove has long been a source of inspiration for plein air painters, a type of landscape painting originated in France. Early plein air painters documented Orange County's coastline, and Crystal Cove in particular, with their paintings in homage to the movement. One of the cottages at Crystal Cove is called Painter's Cottage. Crystal Cove is used by mountain bikers inland and scuba divers and skin divers underwater. The beach is popular with swimmers and surfers. Lifeguard services at Crystal Cove are provided by the California State Parks Lifeguard Service. In addition to the beach, the park has 2,400 acres of undeveloped woodland inland of the Coast Highway, which is popular for hiking and horseback riding. The park has a total of 17 different trails. The grounds are also available for camping. There are 34 different lots spread across 3 designated backpacking and camping areas, including the Upper Morro and Lower Morro, as well as Deer Creek campsites. None of these are accessible by car, only by hike, and there are up to 4 people per site allowed. No pets, however, are allowed. No campfires are allowed in the backcountry or the campsites. Crystal Cove State Park has registered 180 different species of birds that can be observed throughout the entire year, seasonally, or a few times per year. Some of the birds seen regularly include the turkey vulture, the mourning dove, the ring-billed gull, the common raven, the greater roadrunner, quail, and the house sparrow.
A little bit of California history here. Recreational history as well as film, cinema history. And heading back up off Crystal Cove Beach. We once again encounter the beachcomber at Crystal Cove Restaurant. Oh my, these are brisket sandwiches and they look super yummy, complete with pickle. Okay, here we go, the first bite. Yummy, very warm, very savory. Some awesome cheese. There's Havarti cheese in here. I love that. I recommend this. This is a dark chocolate brownie with a marshmallow on top. It's been glazed with fudge and vanilla ice cream. Here we go. The big dark brownie with marshmallow and vanilla ice cream. Oh my god, here we go. Oh my god, this is amazing with the marshmallow. This is crazy good. All the meals are wonderful. I recommend it. Cute little Crystal Cove. Get a shot at this. Well, folks, that has been Crystal Cove down here in Southern California, just south of Newport Beach in South Orange County. I hope you enjoyed seeing all the sights and hearing all the sounds. We've really enjoyed bringing it to you. This has been Indiana Homes and Lizzie. Until next time. Please hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notifications button. Thank you very much.